Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And today, I want to quickly say we're doing a 2500 XRP giveaway, and the winner is going to be announced in 8 days from now. And it's not just one winner, it's 5. Make sure you enter with the link down below, and let's dive right into the crypto news of today, as there's a lot of stuff to discuss. Now, first of all, Ripple recently bought back the $200 million in funding in round C that it received for $300 million. What? While in the middle of an SEC lawsuit. Remember, what happened now is the way I'm seeing it right now without reading further, right? I'm thinking Tetragon, $200 million C funding, them wanting to kind of get out of the company, Ripple buying it back for now 50% more, because Ripple paid $300 million for the $200 million, which was invested into them, which shows some really big faith in your own company. Well, in the middle of an SEC lawsuit, Ripple also just signed a multi-year lease on an entire building in San Francisco and is hiring 200 more people. All I can say is confident in the case isn't an issue. Yeah, Ripple may go down in history for having the biggest pair of balls ever. So I just looked up to see how many FOIA are on Hinman for the month of January of this year. There are a total of 22. What this is referring to, just a little piece of information which you think is interesting, is Freedom of Information Act. And what they're basically doing is saying, hey, SEC, you're an officer of the public, basically. We want to get the information which was surrounding you as you are basically working to inform the public. These things should not be kept private, specifically if they're concerning issues or if somebody's alleging something so severely. And there's apparently 22 different parts, which are supposedly kind of coming out to the public or so, or at least possible in all that sense. That's, again, what Empower US is kind of figuring out and doing and trying to do. This is a little update from a couple days ago. Coming off our best year yet, RippleNet ended the first quarter of 2022 with record numbers and customer demand. Some of the highlights by numbers: RippleNet reached a $15 billion annualized payment volume run rate, as customers expand the use of RippleNet and ODL beyond remittances, including treasury and SME payments. I like that because why? Well, remember, even though Ripple is in a severe lawsuit and people are looking at that thinking, oh no, it's really going bad for Ripple, they're going to go downhill. Well, the US volume is actually a really small percentage, and even though that is blocked, it's not really halting Ripple too much. More importantly, Ripple's growth is actually pretty severe. The only problem is, and I described it before like this, in terms of XRP price, it'll most likely be along the lines of, first, we'll see the lawsuit spike the price up, then we'll see the exchange relisting spike the price up, and then we'll start to see the Ripple's slash XRP utility really ramp up. And the reason I'm saying Ripple's is in the same fashion as where I kind of name drop a lot of foundations behind crypto projects. It's just kind of logical to associate the crypto project with the foundation, because they might be one of the bigger factors that's creating utility for a project. It does not mean it's the only one. It does not mean it's necessary. It's just really convenient, I would say. Why? Well, if RippleNet utilizes XRP for the most part out of everything else, even though it might only be 51%, for example, it's logical you're going to mention that. Does not mean that XRP system relies on it or anything along those lines, but yeah. So ODL grew by 8 times year over year, which again is XRP's usage in RippleNet. And I'm incredibly proud to see half of the customers using ODL today upgraded their services from fiat only. And that's again what I quote Brad Garlinghouse for. He said the hardest part is getting them to sign the contract, to basically initiate them with RippleNet, to get them to use XRP eventually, or ODL, is pretty simple because, well, if you're already enjoying our services, wouldn't you just want to save more? If so, then no way. A testament to ODL's product market fit and the vision we had from day one. Global growth remains strong, with improved product functionality, such as the ability for payments to continue processing even if an ODL exchange partner happens to go down. APAC is one of the biggest contributors of ODL dollar volume, totaling over $1 billion in the first quarter alone. ODL can enable payouts, I believe. Let this load in real quick. There we go. ODL can enable payouts in 25 payout markets today, including new regions like Singapore, Malaysia, Poland, Indonesia, Thailand, and more. up from 3 markets in 2020. So that's actually really crazy growth if you think about it. These markets collectively represent 62% of the $700 billion a year global remittance market and 86% of the $6 trillion a day global FX market, which includes Treasury corporate FX cross-border payments. And finally, I'm very excited to announce that we have hired a new Vice President of Global Payments, S. Joseph, to lead payments for Ripple. Ripple, and this is Crypto Wolf, Ripple and XRP's main goal was always to solve a multi-trillion-dollar problem. And again, that's what we're still in it for. That's what we're still looking out for every single day. Remember this really carefully, guys. I, for the majority of my portfolio, actually do hold XRP. At some points, I think, you know what, I can better really go for crazy altcoins because if I look at the return on my investment, it's been better. So what I decided to do is not really listen to my own thoughts. No, what I'm going to do is stick with XRP for this entire journey because, in my own opinion, it's one of the easiest 10 to 15 X's or so in like a year's time. The only problem is because the lawsuit keeps taking longer, this little time frame of mine shifts as well, which is really cumbersome, but it's not really a big problem. Specifically because we're in a little bit of a bear market right now anyway. You know, crypto prices are down significantly. That makes it a little bit easier for me to kind of wait it out and hold through. But what I do on the side, and this is something which I really honestly recommend everybody to look into, is I have an account on a lot of these exchanges. One of them, there's a link down below for Bybit. If you are not signed up yet, make sure you check it out. Some countries cannot participate. It is what it is. I'm sorry about it. The world is not really adaptive of a lot of these crypto things yet, or might never be. US is just a lot more risk averse, yes, than Europe or a lot of other places that are, you know, kind of wanting to make you more money. I have a little article about that specifically, about the fact that institutional investors are right now kind of taking their money out of crypto, and the IMF is warning certain countries of the crypto adoption they're going for. Remember, these countries, they know crypto is a big opportunity, but the US parts, they just don't want you to make money as a small fry. Remember, it's an institutional game, and even them, they kind of don't want them to make money depending on how they arrange it for, if it's not taxable enough. But that's for a different story, a different day. I honestly think if you have, for example, a Bybit account, I share this information quite often, there's a lot of these opportunities where if you invest, let's say $50 or so, it can easily turn into $250 in a couple of days. And even though you're not allowed to always put in tens of thousands of dollars to multiply that, it's, I think, the smaller numbers that count really. Because what we've done pretty often on the channel, I think, is invest $1,000 and turn it into $100,000, $200,000, 40,000 and so forth and so on. It's not going from 1 million to 100 million because that's a really different ballpark, really different game. I'm talking about the smaller, for some people, $1,000 is still a crazy lot of money. But I'm going to consider it smaller in the crypto grand scheme of things. A smaller amount of money and multiplying that. And if you take it one step easier, you know, the lower your initial capital, the easier it is to multiply. But again, there's just a finite amount of opportunities per day, so to speak. Yet again, that's what I really think is like the best strategy for in this little time period. And so, for example, one of the things I always join is those Bybit Launchpad sales. Usually do like at least a 5x or so. And let's say that you're able to put in a couple $100 or a couple tens of dollars. I think maximum is 500. That means that every one of these sales, and there's a couple a month, you're at least turning your 500, for example, if you get the chance to do that, into, let's say, 2,500. Sometimes a lot more. Sometimes it's like 20x or so. But you guys get my drift, right? And that is huge for a lot of people. So, yeah, I try to really go for those as well in these types of times. Mostly because I don't want to sell my XRP. And I have a lot of USDT and BUSD and whatever USDT left anyway. So I have to kind of look for different opportunities. But yeah, I'll be sharing whenever I find them. Fame MMA from recently went really crazy. I think it did like a 300 or 200x or so. And I told you guys about it before it actually happened, which was really amazing too. But yeah, I have a lot of cool stuff to share over on the channel. And I'll keep sharing, of course, whenever I find out stuff. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, but trust the process. I've been sharing a lot of golden tips. I'm going to keep doing that for absolutely free, of course. It won't cost you legends a thing, obviously. At the end of the day, I have nothing to lose. I think I only have to gain from sharing my tips as well. You might say, oh, but the price is going to increase. You're going to pump it up. I will never talk about a coin that's so easily manipulatable. If you've seen my videos for a little while, you know I talk about let's say top 25, top 40 or so, top 50 maybe, coins all the time. If there's a really small cap coin I talk about, there's most likely a very important motive behind it, where there's a very high chance of crazy returns. But I will also always give the risk warning, so to speak, that even though it's not going to be me manipulating anything, there's a risk that somebody's just going to dump it all to the floor or something like that. I'll always just really make it clear. But for the coins I talk about most of the time on the channel, if somebody dumps it to the floor, I think I'll be hurt mentally more than you will. All right, I'll be recovering from that for a little while. That would be scarring for life. Yeah. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed looking at this little RippleNet poster in the background, because it did not really move the camera angle anything at all. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you press the like button on this video. I wanted to kind of share a lot of crypto news as a whole here, but let's keep it kind of simple for right now. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today.